Well, Luke McCarthy won the inaugural running of the Eureka last year with Encipher. This time, he's done it on a horse that he actually trains, and slot holder John Singleton. Good on you, Singo.
Good morning everyone and welcome to the live barrier draw for the running of the Tab Eureka for 2025, the world's richest harness race for $2.1 million. There are 10 key chances in this year's edition who are about to draw their barriers and get this Eureka puzzle a little clearer here on Sky One this morning. So many people joining us. Firstly, to those watching at home who may have an interest in one of these runners or just an interest in the race, it is great to have your company. We have plenty of slot holders here in studio at Sky this morning about to come up and draw their marble for their respective horse. Andrew Kelly, the CEO of Harness Racing Australia, joins me, as does Brandon Craneborg, who will interview the key chances as they come up to the table. Andrew, first of all, a very good morning to you. The excitement level's really building for this year's race.
Exactly right. Thank you, Lewis. It's great to be here. And, the intrigue of the 10 horses that would make up the race is now behind us, but the anticipation of where the marble will fall, as you said, is upon us. And it's just fantastic to see everyone with us this morning.
Plenty to play out over the next 40 minutes or so. Brendan Craneborg, very good morning to you, mate. This is such a different Eureka this year with an unprecedented number of 3-year-olds in the field. And this puzzle, as I mentioned, it needs to become clearer. I think that starts here this morning.
It sure does, Lewis. Good morning to you and good morning to all of our viewers across Sky One. Well, the fate of many of the horses sits right in front of me here with the Tab Eureka barrier draw for 2025. Such an interesting race, as Lewis said. 6 3-year-olds will be heading a lot of the markets for this race. We've got 4 of the established open class 4-year-olds that have won some of the best form reference races you can find right around the country, including the Chariots of Fire run here at Club Menangle, and also the 3-year-olds having won probably the best form reference in the form of the Rising Sun. This is going to be really fascinating right across the gambit of all 10 horses that we'll be drawing here, Lewis, and we'll have not only the barrier draw but also the immediate reactions straight afterwards.
Okay, here are the contenders for the Tab Eureka for 2025. As we mentioned, 6 3-year-olds in the race, and we've only seen 2 editions of this race so far. This year's field, we've seen some champions in previous years. How do you think this one stacks up?
Well, I think it's a very even field. I think it's difficult to put the form line across too many of them because they've not seen each other. They've run in plenty of races, so there's exposed form, but not necessarily amongst each other, and that's what the intrigue, I suppose, of today and the race will bring. A very, very even field, and a lot of slot holders leaving their horse decisions until the last moment for exactly that reason. Okay, so 6 3-year-olds, 4 4-year-olds. We're yet to see a 3-year-old win the race, albeit they haven't been as well represented. Do you think this year maybe is the year, or will that older age still prove to be dominant in the race? Yeah, it's a hard one. I think it will depend a lot about how the race is run. If the 4-year-olds find the top, which is probably the way that the race will pan out, then it will be there for a swipper at the end. Of the 3-year-olds don't have to do too much work. But it wasn't that long ago people were saying that this wasn't a race for 3-year-olds, and here there are 6 taking their position behind the mobile on Saturday night. It's very exciting. Okay, this is how the barrier draw will play out. So I've obviously got Bruce Christensen, the CEO of Club Menangle here. He will draw an envelope that contains the name of the horses. We'll start with the 3-year-olds. It will then move to the 4-year-olds. As the horse is pulled out of the envelope, a participant related to that horse will come up and draw one of the trophies on the table, under which
contains their barrier for the running of the Eureka this year. Also in our presence, we have Peter Buckman, the CEO of Harness Racing New South Wales, and HRNSW Chairman of Stewards Clint Bentley is also in the room. BK, let's take it away, the 3-year-olds.
Thanks, Lewis. So the 3-year-olds, 6 of them, many of the slot holders who have had significant prominence in this race, electing to go with one of the juvenile or the younger horses of the two age groups. Bruce, if I could ask you to draw the first envelope, please. The first horse drawn for the 2025 Tab Eureka, one of the 3-year-olds, is Foxdan. This will be drawn by half of the very powerful Team Zav syndicate, Joe Zavasanos.
With 8 wins from 12 starts, impressive art major colt Foxdan has been selected by Team Zav in the Tab Eureka. Trained by Emma Stewart, his biggest win was the Group 1 Bathurst Gold Crown.
Where the leader is Foxdan trying to stave them off. At the moment, Soho the real deal. Here comes my ultimate Barney with a withering burst, but the leader's kicked away Foxdan. He'll wear the crown, goes home to win it, Foxdan.
Well, Joe, we just saw, of course, Foxdan winning the Group 1 Gold Crown in 2024. He's been a high-level horse for a long period of time.
Yes, he's a very exciting horse. He's actually bred by us. Out of the first horse that Danny bought at the sales.
Just walk us through that journey, because Danny has had such a long and storied history, and this is a really special moment to be able to follow your heart into the Tab Eureka.
It is, and we were torn, and we've always said we'll put the best horse forward, and it's the first time we're actually running one of our horses at the Tab Eureka, so the fact that Foxdan was bred by us is even more special.
Ryan Sanderson to take the steer. Now, this is really important to lock this piece of information away, because he's a young guy at the top of his game, and most importantly, he's got Tab Eureka experience that maybe some of the others don't.
Ryan's young, but he's done an amazing job with Foxdan, and he's always done us proud. He's driven him well, and so we thought we'd honour him with that drive.
All right, the time has now come, Joe. You are the first of 10. Please choose your barrier. There are 6 to choose from on this side of the draw.
I'll show you first.
And Foxdan has drawn barrier 5. Barrier 5 for Foxdan will be the first horse drawn out, so number 5. Congratulations, Joe. A tough draw, but not an impossible one for him to win from.
Yes. Yeah.
Very much a question now of who draws where in terms of the 3-year-olds. It is a race that I think produces a lot of speed, so 5 might be a good position just to tuck in midfield.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, Joe, very well picked. You haven't picked the worst barrier for the 3-year-olds,
No.
So we will see how the rest of this barrier draw unfolds. Joe Zavatsanos, the first one out for Foxdan. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Bruce, the time is now yours again. The second 3-year-old to be selected from this group of outstanding juveniles, and it will be Fate Awaits. This one drawn by Bathurst Harness Racing Club President and Western Jewel Principal, Wayne Loader.
Bred in the Western Districts, Fate Awaits will run for Wayne Loader's Western Jewel slot. The Group 1 winner of the Rising Sun is trained by Grant Dixon and owned by Kevin and Kay Seymour.
Fate Awaits goes to the inside. The Janitor strikes the lead. Fate Awaits, Jack Solomon Fury. The Janitor, Fate Awaits driving through. Fate Awaits, history, the 3-year-old gets it.
Wayne, Fate Awaits, bred in the West, representing the Western Jewel from the most informed stable in the country at this stage. It sounds quite a recipe.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. We picked him out fairly early in the piece, but waited our time to make the announcement, but we're really happy to secure him.
He's been a 3-year-old that's broken the ceiling. He won the Proto Star at 2. He won the Rising Sun this year. It seems that he is the horse at this stage to pick from.
Well, yeah, as I say, first 3-year-old to win the Rising Sun, so all the cards are in his favour for this one.
Wayne, this is your opportunity to draw Fate Awaits well. Good luck with your draw. Please choose your barrier. Fate Awaits for 2025 will draw barrier 3. Barrier 3 for Fate Awaits. Wayne, this looks a good barrier for him because he's going to be able to have pretty well all the options when it comes to that first 200 metres, which is so important.
Yeah, it's ideal. I was hoping 2 or 3, so 3 is a great draw.
All right, barrier 3 for Fader Waits. Thank you very much, Wayne. We'll move on to our next runner. Bruce, runner number 3 out for the 3-year-olds. We're starting to get a better picture of how this is all looking. Third horse out is See the Stars. See the Stars will be drawn by key participant Daniel Cordina.
3-year-old See the Stars represents Cordina Racing in the Tab Eureka. This son of Captain Treacherous has won impressively at Menangle last start and won the Southeast Derby during the Constellations.
Here comes See the Stars, gets out after the leader. See the Stars hitting top gear, goes to the lead, just wanted to get in a little bit, but now straightens up, starts to come away. Oh, and See the Stars gets into its work late to beat Royal Division.
Daniel, something different this year, a 3-year-old, something you haven't done before. You've taken 4-year-olds. What steered you in that direction this year?
Well, there wasn't many 4-year-olds around at the time of the chariots and things like that, so we thought we'd decide to wait, and I was more prone to go to one of the Derby horses or some of the 3-year-olds that are going around, and I spoke to my brother, and he was quite happy just to leave it, and we just left it as long as we possibly could.
You've had some nice horses yourself. You've bred a couple. You've had Miracle Mile runners. What was it specifically about this guy that caught your fancy?
Look, at the start, I had no horses in mind, and then I got a text message from Jeff Webster, and he sent me his bio. I had a look at his bio. I had a look at his races on while I was overseas, and everything just started falling into place, and they all ticked the boxes, and we were steering down his way, and then I was getting phone calls from other people while I was away, and but nothing came close to him.
All right, See the Stars, Daniel. This is your opportunity to take the barrier draw for him, so if you wouldn't mind, please choose a barrier. See the Stars will draw barrier 1. See the Stars will be the best drawn of the 3-year-olds. You'd have to be happy with that.
Very happy. I spoke to Will the other day, and he said 1, 2 or 3 is fine, so he's very happy with 1.
All right, excellent. So there is the fate of See the Stars. It draws barrier 1. Thank you very much, Daniel. We'll move along to the next 3-year-old that's to be selected. Bruce continues to pull the 3-year-olds out of their envelopes. This one is Hesitate. Now, Hesitate is to be drawn by Leviathan owner Mick Harvey.
Hesitate, trained by Luke McCarthy, owned by Mick Harvey, and representing the Singo slot. This 3-year-old son of sports writer has built an impressive resume with wins at Melton, Menangle and Albion Park.
Hesitate! No hesitation! Races away and wins it easily.
Mick, you're teaming up with the Singo slot, the winner from last year. That must be really exciting, given that, of course, they were the winners of the previous edition.
Yeah, it'll be good to follow in their footsteps. They've set a trend there. I hope we can continue it.
The horse comes off the back of a real bumper Queensland Carnival. Luke has been obviously in contact. Is he ready to rock and roll from what we've seen?
Yeah, he's got him cherry ripe. We locked in early. His last run was in Queensland, so it's a bit of a space, but he's had some trials and ready to go.
I want you to take your mind back to when King of Swing was going for his 3rd on the bounce Miracle Mile at Club Menangle. How different is this for you emotionally, and what are you feeling right now?
Oh yeah, it's very different. I mean, I think that was more a relief because there was a lot of pressure. The horse was extremely successful, and to get that 3-peat in the Miracle Mile was just unheard of, and it was a fantastic feeling. This guy here, he's more of the underdog, as I sort of like to think, where he's come from, and he's made his way up, and we purchased him and from a group of sort of part-time guys before, so he's doing really well. So we're very excited. He's from probably not the greatest bred horse as well, so it gives everybody hope out there that if they've got a nice 3 or 4-year-old, they've got a chance for sure.
Mick, 3 barriers left for the 3-year-olds. One of them will be yours. Please select which one you're taking. Hesitate We'll draw barrier 2 for Hesitate. So we now have many of the inside draws for the 3-year-olds locked away, and again, another one you'd have to be really happy with.
You know, particularly happy with that because I'm a bit of a Jonah. Normally I draw 9 and something like that. Luke's really happy. He said try and get 2 or 3, and so I've done the job, so I'm out now. It's all over to him.
Congratulations, Mick. Thank you so much for your participation. Hesitate drawing barrier number 2, as we'll get Bruce to come back and draw the next of the 3-year-olds. Not many to go now. So we have still a couple of very high quality ones, and Go Mickey will be the first of those last 3-year-olds to be drawn by Head of Racing Production at Tabcorp, Ben Lloyd.
In-form 3-year-old Go Mickey will represent race sponsors Tab in the Tab Eureka. The lightly raced son of Always Be Mickey has won his last 4 starts and is trained by Emma Stewart.
But it is all Go Mickey really going through its gears. It started away. Getting home late now is Captain Bart. It runs to a clear second, but have a look at this Go Mickey. Oh, he grabbed hold near the line. It's bolted in. It spanked them.
Well, Ben, Tabcorp have stuck to their principles. They've waited until the very last moment. There were no more runs to be seen. Just talk us through what actually got this horse to the final spot.
We wanted a horse in form. He's won his last 4 in a row. So we thought, there's a bit of momentum behind that, and we think we've got a very adaptable horse. So I don't think I can go wrong with two available slots to go, but yeah, we've got an adaptable horse.
The team last year won the Tab Everest, and that was a really important victory for them in the thoroughbred code. Was there a real hunger or a real drive to win this code's biggest race on offer?
Last year was enormous with the Tab Everest win. Bella was a fantastic story, and it was a fantastic thing for the whole entire business. For Tab to be the naming right sponsor of the world's richest harness race and to have a slot, we want to win, and we think we've got the horse that's going to put us in the best possible situation. All right, Go Mickey, there's 2 choices left for you. There will be one after this. Ben, if you would please make the barrier draw selection. Go Mickey will run from barrier 6, number 6 for Tabcorp and Go Mickey. So it's only a starting position in the end. What are we thinking after that? Well, I might never be able to do this again, having drawn 6. But we do have an adaptable horse. We can go forward. If we drew an inside barrier, we could have got a sit. So, yeah, we're an adaptable horse, and fingers crossed. For the Jolly Green Giant, which is Tabcorp, Go Mickey will go from barrier 6. Thank you very much, Ben. And of course, as is, I suppose, now a fait accompli, we have one 3-year-old left to go in this draw, and it will be Path to Greatness. Path to Greatness will be drawn by one of our own here in New South Wales, and that is Robbie Morris.
Kevin and Kay Seymour have selected one of their own in Path to Greatness. Trained by Grant Dixon, the 3-year-old won the Nutrien Classic Final and Group 2 Queensland Sun.
Path to Greatness dropped the 4-year-olds, races away, margin 7 metres, charge ahead starting to pick up late, but the 3-year-old is on the right path and it's Path to Greatness.
Well, Robbie, here we are. We've got one barrier to go, and of course you are representing the Kevin and Kay Seymour slot, who pour in a lot of money and do a lot of good things for this particular industry as well.
Yeah, it's great to always be involved with Kevin and Kay. They do a lot for harness racing in general across the whole of Australia, so it's good to be here on behalf of them, and I sort of can't really stuff it up now.
Just tell us about Path to Greatness, just a little bit of what you are expecting, because of course you will be sitting behind this horse on Saturday night.
Yeah, look, he's a horse that I was lucky enough to drive in the New South Wales Derby and run second on, and he's all heart and he's all try, and he's sort of had to do all the bullocking work a lot of the time with his races, so barrier, it just comes down to how it all plays out, and but I'm really happy with him. Grant and Trista are happy with him, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, I think we all know what's going to happen here, Robbie, but if you wouldn't mind just picking up that last trophy to make sure that it is the right one. It is barrier number 4 for Path to Greatness. So barrier 4 for him. Robbie, barrier 4, as you said, he's all heart. This probably might not be the worst draw.
No, I would have said 2, 3 or 4 would be perfect for me. I think 1, you're forced to make a decision there. You've either got to put the foot down or concede, and I think that puts you in a bit of a spot in these races. So, I think barrier 4 gives us options, and I'm happy with everything the way it's lobbed around us. So, that'll be good.
Just very quickly, there's often a little bit of a story around the 2,400 metre start point at Menangle. 2,300 a little bit more fair, but is it still a very tricky spot to come out of one at Menangle from 2,300 metres?
I think it is. Probably more so the mile. It's hard to muster from one. You're putting all your eggs in one basket at the start. But, 2,300 start's probably a lot fairer than the 2,400. But, I think with all these quality horses scoring up, it doesn't matter where you sort of draw, you just got to hope things pan out your way.
Well, there we are. The 3-year-old portion of the barrier draw is now complete. And Lewis, as I hand back to you, this has now become a very, very interesting race. I'm not sure if it's any more clear at this stage than it was when we started.
Absolutely, BK, thank you. So for a recap, See the Stars 1, Hesitate 2, Fate Awaits 3, Path to Greatness 4, Foxdan 5 and Go Mickey Draws 6. Andrew, your first thoughts and takeouts out of that. Is there any real standout winner from that draw?
Not really. I think BK sort of nailed it, that there's still a bit of work to be done in terms of working the horses through that mix. But I suppose you take the Luke McCarthy factor into your consideration with regard to where he's drawn with Hesitate and work your way around that as your starting point, I would have thought. So it's set up nicely. Feel a little sorry for Jo Zavastanos. She's first off and probably wasn't all that happy with 5 in the end. But I don't think it's going to matter too much.
Absolutely. Don't go anywhere. Here on Sky Racing 1, we continue our live barrier draw of the Tab Eureka. Still 4 marbles to be handed down for the 4-year-olds. That's after this. Welcome back to the live barrier draw for the Tab Eureka of 2025. We have the 3-year-olds locked away. And Brendan Cranborg, it's now time to draw the final 4 spots for these 4-year-olds and the emergencies as well.
Absolutely, Lewis. So the 4-year-olds now taking centre stage for this barrier draw. To start with, we do have one 4-year-old mare that will be drawn. As you can see, she sits alone just here, and we'll ask David Watson to come forward and draw that barrier. But first, we do just have to confirm that she is the name in the golden envelope. She is Lovericious, one of the emergencies. David, if you would please come forward and draw that barrier. We know where she's going to draw. She will be barrier number 7, which is exactly what we were going to expect. Stick around, Wano. We'll definitely need your services in a few moments' time. There are still some emergencies to come. Bruce, let's continue this barrier draw and start the 4-year-old Entires and Geldings. And we start with the first of a number of these. And they are, the first one out is Fighter Command. Fighter Command to be drawn by Eliza Howlett from Taz Racing.
Fighter Command, trained by Jess Tubbs. As a 3-year-old, he secured a spot in the Tab Eureka. Unfortunately, a setback forced his withdrawal from the race. In 2025, he is back, and after a huge win in the Bowtide, he will represent Taz Racing.
But it's going to be all Fighter Command, and he takes out the Bowtide. Fighter Command wins it by around 25 metres.
Well, Eliza, wouldn't this just be the absolute feel-good story of the whole Eureka if Fighter Command were able to win?
It would. It'd be incredibly special. 12 months, he's had a lot going on. He had life-saving surgery, and then with the passing of Greg, it'd be incredibly special to win it.
Absolutely. In terms of Taz Racing, they've got a really good record here. They ran 4th in the first edition with Magician. Then they ran 2nd last year once Whisperer Secret took the position. So Taz Racing is certainly very much a force to be reckoned with in this Eureka.
Certainly so. We're very eager to win, and to do it for Tassie would certainly be special.
All right, barriers all in front of you now, Eliza. Your first choice of, I suppose, the connection draws, if you would be able to make your selection now, please. Fighter Command will draw barrier 8. Barrier 8 for Fighter Command this year, and on the whole, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Eliza. We'll wait with bated breath to see how Fighter Command fares in the rest of the barrier draw. Thank you for your time, and we'll continue to move along with our next runner. So, Bruce, if you would be able to come and draw the next 4-year-old out. Still a couple of them who are real live chances, a few emergencies to make this barrier draw very interesting. Glitter Ain't Gold is the next one out for the Nathan Turnbull yard. David Watson will come and make that next selection. Glitter Ain't Gold will draw barrier number 10. Barrier number 10 for Glitter Ain't Gold. And a really progressive horse he is, won the New South Wales Regional Champs Metro final. So if he is to be taken, he'll run from 10. The next one, please, Bruce. So the barriers becoming fewer and fewer now. The next one out is My Key to Success. My Key to Success to be drawn by one of the ABR Summit Bloodstock representatives, Glenn Holland.
Winner of the Discovery, My Key to Success gained a spot in the Tab Eureka, racing for the Aaron Bain Racing Summit Bloodstock slot. Trained by Emma Stewart, he won Group 1 Vic Bred at 3 and took out the 4-year-old Bonanza earlier this year.
But at the moment it's all Mickey to Success and has dead set put them away and has darted right away now from Ravishing Sloy and Mickey to Success. Too good.
Well, Glenn, as we just saw there, the Discovery Stakes, he was just an absolutely destructive force. Do you think that on that run there alone, he has to be one of the form horses coming into this race?
Oh, 100%. He pretty much picked himself from that race. You sit park 2300 at Menangle, run away down that big straight from everyone else, you've got a pretty tough horse. So we're a big shot.
What does a big layoff like what we saw for My Key to Success post-autumn give him in terms of an advantage here for this race, whereas some of them have continued to race and had to prove themselves?
Yeah, I think especially putting that big effort a couple of weeks ago and having that last fortnight off is a big bonus, not having to back up straight away again.
All right, the time is now for you to choose the barrier for My Key to Success. He's gone the extreme outside, barrier number 14. So barrier 14. Every cloud has a silver lining and they're always just a starting position, Glenn. What do we make of that, particularly for My Key to Success, who's pretty good on cover?
That's what we were looking for, so I nailed it.
All right, excellent. Barrier 14. So, Glenn, thank you very much. So that for Aaron Bain and Summit Bloodstock, who have won the race in 2023 with Encipher. Bruce, the next horse drawn out will be Our Goat, one of the emergencies. So David Watson again will be required to draw that barrier. And with 4 remaining, Our Goat will draw barrier number 12. Barrier 12 for Our Goat. So the extreme outside is gone. Barrier 12 is gone. There's only a few dangerous numbers left here, Bruce. The next one out, the third last horse to be drawn, is going to be Bay of Biscay, our Chariots of Fire winner. And Bay of Biscay is to be drawn by Soho Standard Bred Supremo, Robert Watson.
The 2025 Chariots of Fire winner Bay of Biscay was second in last year's Tab Eureka and is back for redemption. Trained by Emma Stewart, Bay of Biscay is running for slot holder Soho Standard Breds.
But it's still Bay of Biscay. Charge ahead's really knuckling down now. It's still Bay of Biscay with 50 to go, gripping on, and Bay of Biscay into the Miracle Mile next week. It wins the Chariots of Fire.
Well, Robert, here we are at barrier draw time again. You can't draw the extreme outside this year, which is a positive step. Have you done any superstitions, or have you done anything to try and make sure that you get a better draw this year?
Well, I'm glad he took the 14 from me, so yeah, just anything inside of that was going to be good. So that was my instructions, to draw inside Mickey to Success. So I've achieved that so far. So hopefully we can get barrier 9, I guess.
All right, let's see how you go with that. 3 to choose from, and Bay of Biscay will draw barrier 11. Barrier 11 for Bay of Biscay. Robert, in terms of the Chariots of Fire, he was enormous in that particular race, and I suppose now he's been able to have a bespoke preparation, which is really, really important.
Yeah, I wouldn't swap the horse for anything. Got a call very early in proceedings. I didn't really want to go that way. I wanted to wait, but I couldn't knock back a horse that's won the Chariots, and compared to a couple of mine, he just read up so much better.
How much advantage is it that he's done all of his, or a lot of his work at Menangle, particularly in big races, in comparison to a number of these others?
Yeah, I think he's been trained to the minute. His last couple of runs, he's faced the breeze, done it pretty tough in open class. I'm pretty confident he's going to run a really big race.
Well, there we are. Soho Standardbreds and Bay of Biscay, one of our form runners from Menangle. Thank you very much, Robert. We'll continue on with just 2 runners to go. And they are going to very much shape the way that this race on September the 6th works out. Ravishing Sloy, one of the emergencies, is the next out. David Watson, last official roll for you this morning. 2 barriers to choose from. Ravishing Sloy, close to the vest. Barrier number 13 for Ravishing Sloy. Barrier 13 for him. That leaves us just 1, Bruce. So we have made this barrier draw, I suppose, right down to the last piece of the puzzle. It is call to order for Racing Queensland. To help us with this draw, the Hayden slot holder winner, and that is Brad Watts.
Call to Order is owned by Kevin and Kay Seymour and trained by Grant Dixon. This son of American Ideal's impressive win in the Group 2 Hayden secured his spot in the Tab Eureka representing Racing Queensland.
Call to Water's opening right up, and he's coming away for a brilliant win. Call to Water. Call to Water wins excellently.
Well, Brad, he didn't get here in, I suppose, the most normal of circumstances. He wasn't first past the post in the Hayden, but he's here today and he's been in really good form.
Yeah, he has. His last start was very impressive, and look, he's an underdog in the race. He's obviously the outsider in the race, but he's a Queenslander, and as we know, never underestimate them.
All right, your fate has pretty well been sealed here with this barrier draw. It is barrier 9, which is, I suppose, one of the better places that the 4-year-olds could start from, just in terms of this horse. Another horse from the Kevin and Kay Seymour operation, out of a Queensland-based and raced mare. She won over $250,000 in prize money herself, so he's a really appropriate pick for this race, isn't he?
Yeah, certainly is. Queenslander through and through, and look, he'll get back and, he'll follow good speed and he'll run on, so hopefully he can get a place or something for us. Would be nice.
Barrier 9, what do we make of it to, I suppose, get as far forward as he can?
Yeah, I don't think it really matters with this horse. He was always, I presume, going backwards. So hopefully he can slot in somewhere decent and run home.
Well, Brad, thank you so much. That completes our barrier draw for the 2025 Tab Eureka. Well, Lewis, it's all been finalised now. We know where they're going to start from. Now it's our job over the next couple of days to try and figure out where they're going to finish.
Absolutely, the cogs start to turn over. Just to repeat, that barrier draw in full with the emergencies drawn into the field. 1, See the Stars. 2, Hesitate. 3, Fate Awaits. 4, Path to Greatness. 5, Fox Dan. 6, Go Mickey rounds out the 3-year-olds. The first emergency Lover Resh is drawn 7. 8 is Fighter Command. 9, Call to Water. Glitter Ain't Gold, another emergency, gets 10. 11, Bay of Biscay. 12, Our Goat, and 13, Ravishing Sloy, the other emergencies. And Mickey to Success will be starting from the outside. So, Andrew, a lot to unpack from that, and it might take us a couple of hours to start figuring out how all this works. But were there any real surprises in that draw that you saw?
Not really, but I'm really enjoying the idea of the 2 outside, the horses that have drawn the far outside, the speed battle that I feel will be engaged in early in this race, which will really set up how the rest of the race will unfold. And it's also interesting to sort of reflect on some of the people that have got a big hand in this race. So we've got the Dixon stable, we've got obviously the Emma Stewart stable as well. We've got Kevin and Kay Seymour and the Leviathan sort of status as owners, and then also Alan Galloway and the Alabar Bloodstock sort of piece with Always Be Mickey being the sire of 4 runners in the race, and also that particular organisation having a big stake in Bay of Biscay. So and then we've got the ownership part with Mickey to Success and a bunch of footy mates that have all got together and having a great time. So I think the barrier draw still, it's intriguing, and everyone will feel like they've got their shot at it, which I think is great. But in terms of how the races run, those 2 horses on the extreme outside are going to sort of be the ones to watch early.
Just quickly before we say goodbye to you, it is obviously a massive night at Menangle on Saturday. Not only is it the 3rd running of this world's richest harness race, there's a Len Smith Mile and a real standout program on the track, and then off the track, as we know, there's so much entertainment and things for patrons to get involved in. So for those who are heading trackside, for those who are thinking of heading trackside, where can they get their tickets and what can they expect?
Yeah, there's a couple of ways to get tickets. You can get it from the Eureka website, the eurekarace.com.au, and also from the Club Menangle website. The ticket sales have been really strong, so we're really buoyed by the response to the product offer, and this is what we set out to achieve with the Eureka from the word go. Not just premium racing on the track, but also a great entertainment offer off the track. The Living End will be playing after the last. Alex Lloyd's back to do some of his hits in the middle of the program. Plenty of entertainment for all age groups, but this race, it's hard to believe that we're talking about it's only had 2 editions, and it's already caught the imagination of the harness racing public, but then also the event going public as well. There's been 18,000 people through the gates in its first 2 years, and looking forward to another bumper crowd on Saturday night. For those that haven't made their arrangements yet, there's probably still a few plated meals around in the hospitality sense, but just snap up those tickets as early as you can, and look forward to seeing everyone out there on Saturday night.
Absolutely, Andrew. It's been a pleasure having you on the desk. Enjoy Saturday. I'll see you there.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Thank you for you, and also Tab, and all Sky's support's been amazing from you guys all the way through the production team. It's been awesome. Thank you.
Andrew Kelly there, the CEO of Harness Racing Australia. That's it for the barrier draw portion of our live show this morning here for On the Pace in the Morning Line. Don't go anywhere though. Coming up after this, a couple of special guests to join myself and BK at the desk to dissect what we just saw.
McCarthy won the inaugural running of the Eureka last year with Encipher. This time he's done it on a horse that he actually trains, and slot holder John Singleton. Good on you, Singo.
Hey, welcome back to Sky Racing 1 and our live coverage of the Eureka barrier draw, and there is what's at stake, plus a bit of cash as well. I might mention $2.1 million up for grabs, but that trophy sitting with us here in studio looking an absolute picture. We've just had, of course, the barrier draw completed, and we see where our runners will be going from. It's time to really dive into that and find out the winners, the losers, the positives and the negatives of how each horse was drawn. BK back at the desk, and I'm joined by Robbie Morris here. Robbie, good morning to you. How did that last 30 minutes or so play out?
Yeah, pretty good for me actually. Good morning, mate. Yeah, I was was happy to go last. I didn't have to stuff anything up then, so it worked out all right.
We saw the draw. I want to learn a bit more about the horse. You've driven him a couple of times, including a second in a Group 1 New South Wales Derby. What are his greatest strengths or assets for a race like the Eureka?
I think probably he's versatile. You know, he's led and beat Fader Weights as a 2-year-old. He's come from 3 fence in a New South Wales Derby, so he's versatile. You can drive him in any way. You can use him early if you wish, or you can tuck him in if you wish. So I think probably his biggest asset is, his racing manners are impeccable.
Robbie, just walk us through the way that this race looks now, because we've seen 2 totally different versions of the Eureka. 2023 was all about the raw power. 2024, a very tactical race. Just sitting here now, seeing the barrier draw as we have all live, what do you make of this year's edition?
Yeah, look, I think it's made it sort of really intriguing the way the 3-year-olds have fell, and obviously we knew that sort of Mikey to Success and Bay of Biscay were going to draw out wide, and they're going to be tactical as well, because they're going to have to stay, both of them are going to be trying to stay in front of each other. And then you've got it's sort of a race of 2 tactics. You've got the 4-year-old tactics and you've got the 3-year-old tactics. So, we see the stars drawn 1, sort of probably 1's a tricky gate. I know on paper a lot of people say 1's a great barrier, but it forces your hand sometimes, and if you let the wrong horse get in front of you, it puts you in a bad spot, and if you keep 1 out, it might put you too close. So it's tricky. Hesitate drawn 2's probably 2 and 3 for Hesitate and Fader Weights looks perfect for them, obviously. But I think from barrier 4, for me, I think it's we just got to trust the process early and let it all unfold in front of us, and I'm sure it'll be their turn for home.
Speaking of the 3-year-old tactics and the 4-year-old tactics, just unpack that for us a little bit more. What would you be doing on a 3-year-old that maybe as a 4-year-old you wouldn't be doing in this particular race the way it's fallen?
Yeah, well, it's probably, the 4-year-olds, because they're that year older, and there's no denying this. Bay of Biscay's raced in Chariots of Fires. He's been racing consistently and he's very seasoned. So, a lot of these 3-year-old boys have got a lot of star quality about them. They're still young heads. So, they'll probably, the 4-year-old boys are going to be sort of pushing pretty hard from the outside, but any of these 3-year-old boys get the right trip. You saw Fader Waits in the Rising Sun. He got a great trip and he was just super on that night. So, I just think there's probably a lot to unfold and tactics early and where people lob and, sort of over these 2,300 metre races, you need to be thinking what helmet you're going to have with 300 to go after the gate goes. So it's really intriguing.
Robbie, you are combining obviously with Grant Dixon and Kevin and Kay Seymour, who you've had a good relationship with in the past. What's it like to team up with them, especially for a big race like the Eureka? We know that they've got leap to fame, winning so many Group 1s. They're big-time performers, and this kind of needs a big-time performer in this race. Yeah,
firstly, it's always a privilege to drive for Kevin and Kay. They've been massive supporters of harness racing, and Grant and Trista, They sort of, they're really good to drive for. They're outstanding. They don't sort of give me too much. They just tell me the horses well, and we go out there and try and do our best. But whenever you're getting on Grant and Trista's horses, you know that they're going to be on song, and it's always, it's an honour to wear their colours.
Robbie, I'm going to put you on the spot now. I'm going to really try and get a piece of information for the punters. Is there one horse that has been a major winner and one horse that's been a major loser out of this barrier draw? Just thinking through not only the 3-year-olds but the 4-year-olds and all the different dynamics that can play out.
Yeah, I don't think there's sort of been a 3-year-old that's lost all too much. The only thing that I thought looking before the draw was who drew inside of who, Bay of Biscay or Mikey to Success. That'd be a bit of an intriguing there, and I'd have to say probably Mikey to Success has lost out on that battle.
Okay, Robbie, what does it mean to win a Eureka? You've seen Luke McCarthy do it twice and the kind of spoils that come after that. What would it mean to you if you crossed that line on Saturday night?
Oh, I think any driver, us freelance drivers, this is what we do it for, and this is what the early mornings and the late nights, and it's obviously just great to be lucky enough to get a drive in the race, and if we could win, it'd be a dream come true.
Just very quickly, speaking of drives, you're actually about to nip off to Goulburn this afternoon for a meeting, and the tab market tells me you've got a pretty good chance in race 2, Pesco Puyo. A little push for it at any chance?
Yeah, he trialled really good. He's David Aiken trains him, so it's always good to drive one of David's, and he was really good at the trials last week, and he's lobbed the right trot race at Goulburn, so I've got to drive in the first 2, so hopefully the traffic's kind to me on the way out of here.
All right, we better let you hightail it. Best of luck, first of all, this afternoon, and then, of course, on Saturday night with Path to Greatness. It's been great to chat to you this morning.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Robbie Morris there, who's on his way to Goulburn, as we just saw. We'll take a break here for On the Pace. Another guest to join us other side. Welcome back to the live barrier draw for the Tab Eureka. Great to be joined here, myself and BK, on the panel by Ray Selwood, the managing owner and breeder of My Key to Success, who is going to go around as a big chance on Saturday night in the Eureka. Ray, great to have you on. Your thoughts on how the last 30 minutes unfolded, especially with that draw?
Lewis, look, it's not good, but by the same token, he's never quick out of the barrier, so it probably won't do him as much harm as what it would have Bay of Biscay had a drawn 14.
So, outside, go on, sorry.
We'll be going forward.
Okay, outside of the draw, why do you think My Key to Success is the right kind of horse, especially in this year's edition, with plenty of 3-year-olds in the race, the right kind of horse to take out the Eureka?
Look, he's absolutely super tough. We'll try and go to the death and put the screws onto the leader from the 800.
Ray, I suppose in terms of a horse, this has been such an important one for you. You've been involved in this horse right from the get-go, breeding the horse, being involved at 2 and 3, and now he's in this race. What would it mean to you personally and to the team there to be able to win the Tab Eureka?
Oh, sensational, BK. I think I said on a podcast there a while ago, all breeders will understand when that foal's are born, and you watch it being born, then you sit on a bucket and, you know, you watch it for the first time. You're the first human to touch it. You sit on that bucket and you dream what it could be or maybe, and every breeder would have done the same thing. So, yeah, sensational, you know, after being in the game for 45 years.
Just talk us through the moment when you first realised that this was going to be a good horse. Was there a moment where you were potentially just sitting there and you looked at the horse and you just went, yep, I think it's him?
Look, no specific moment, because he's continued to improve. He was a good 2-year-old, not the best. Storm Rider was the best. He was a bit better 3-year-old, not the best. Bay of Biscay was the best. Now the 4-year-old, we'll wait and see.
He's a horse that's raw power, isn't he? He can overwhelm fields. He did that in the Bonanza, and then he's come out and done it again in the Discovery. I suppose the race has fallen in such a way that maybe barrier 10 isn't the worst spot for a horse like that. Correct. To be able to really dominate them.
Yeah, could not agree more. Could not agree more. Look, it'd be better if it was a bit inside Bay of Biscay, but they're the cards you dealt, so they're the ones we'll play with.
Ray, tell us about teaming up with Summit Bloodstock and Aaron Bain Racing. They won the inaugural edition of this race. Does that give you a bit of confidence that they came and said, yeah, hey, we think your horse is the one that can do it? They obviously know what they're doing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty funny actually, because I've been talking to Jamie and Glenn and that, and I have enough trouble with me 4 co-owners now. I've got 3,004, so as in, with Summit Bloodstock, so it'll be good fun. And
Emma Stewart, obviously a big-time trainer, has won plenty of Group 1s and is very adept at winning these kind of races. How's she thinking the horse is going leading into this? Yeah, well, look, I spoke to Clayton last night. He's pulled up well. He's preparing well. They're bringing him up tomorrow. So, look, touch wood. We've just got to decide on a driver. And, and then everything's going to plan so far. So
I just want to touch, Ray, on that Emma Stewart factor, because she puts so much polish on so many good up-and-going juveniles. What is it about the Emma Stewart operation that gets the best out of them? Well, look, being a colt, and I know when I first took him down there and Emma was leading, well, actually, he was leading Emma across the yard, and he was just a real excitable 2-year-old colt, and I thought, wow, we're going to get a phone call here telling him to come this bloke up because he's just out of control. And they persevered, and it never ceases to astound me when you go to the races at Melton. All the colts are side by side, and they're all just gentlemen now. And he's just a superb animal now. You go up to him, he puts his head down and pat him behind the ears, and he's just a beautiful horse to deal with now. No stone left unturned, for sure and certain. 100%. Yeah, look, they do not leave any stone unturned.
Hey, just quickly, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, of course, but it's a lot of money, this race. What would the celebrations look like post if you managed to win?
Look, it's not about the money. Look, the money's nice, yes, blah, 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 but it's just the excitement of having, and this horse has created so many stories for so many new owners, and had a Parish, a first drive on him, a win. Jackie Barker, first Group 1, a win. So hopefully this is another story.
Hopefully it can continue on Saturday night. Ray, really appreciate your time. Best of luck.
Thanks,
even with a sticky draw, but I'm sure it'll all play out there.
Thanks very much.
Okay, Ray Selwood there with my key to success going around in the Eureka on Saturday night. We'll take a break. We're going to take a look at this market very shortly. Nathan Gretsch from the Tab will join us to see how it has unfolded post the barrier draw. Great to have your company here on Sky One for the Tab Eureka barrier draw that has commenced this morning, and now it's almost time to take a look at this all-important market. How have the Tab traders started to shape them up post the barrier draw? And BK, we can firstly take a look at this field and how it now assembles. Some really interesting marbles were put up on that table this morning.
Yeah, I still don't know what to make of it, Lewis. I mean, the big winner for me out of the 3-year-olds was Hesitate, because he gets all the options now with Luke McCarthy aboard. I don't think that Luke could have possibly dreamt this into reality, that he'd have drawn outside of See the Stars, and that the other, I suppose, real power 3-year-olds would be outside of him. From the 4-year-olds, Robbie was dead right. I think My Key to Success is probably the only horse of the 4-year-olds that hasn't drawn particularly great. I think Fighter Command will be the first horse on the scene from the 4-year-olds. They'll really liven him up to try and get that prominent position and then potentially take cover on a horse like Bay of Biscay or My Key to Success. He's very, very good on cover. So, look, the barrier draw hasn't necessarily really demoralised anyone, but hasn't been kind on some of them either.
Time to welcome in Nathan Gretsch from the Tab to see if it's cleared up the picture for the punters in terms of this market just going up. Have they been keen to dive into one or another? Gretsch, a very good morning to you, mate. How is this market looking?
Yeah, thanks, Lewis, and great show so far. And it's very intriguing, this Eureka, and the barrier draw's thrown up a couple of firmers and a couple that have drifted as well. But the traders went up. We went up $12 into $10 for the Sea of Stars. Now, it was $12 when we pre-draw, $12 post-draw. We took a couple of bets straight into $10. Hesitate, been very well supported. It was $7 in the $6.50 post-barrier draw, a couple of $500 bets straight away into $5.50. Fade away, it's 14 into 10. Path to Greatness, 21 into 18. Fox Dan, 16, stays firm. Go Mickey, 9 out of 12. Fighter Command was $3.60, now out to $4. Call to Order, $41. There are Bay of Biscay's been $3.60, and it's been, since winning the Chariots of Fire, Lewis, it's been at the head of the market for a long period of time. Now it's $3.60, out to $4 after drawing barrier 11. And My Key to Success has been $4.50, out to $5. But geez, I tell you what, they dived in straight away to the barriers 1 and barriers 2. That's See the Stars and Hesitate. They've both firmed since the barrier draw, Lewis.
Okay, no real surprise to see the punters start to angle towards those who have drawn low. Gretchy, in terms of this race, such an interesting addition, as we've mentioned all morning, 6 3-year-olds in the race. We've only ever had 3 3-year-olds to run in 2 editions gone by. It's going to create an interesting puzzle for punters. Are you expecting the wagering hold for this race, Gretchy, to still be as good as other years? At least maybe early doors. I think late, once the time comes, people are going to obviously want to play into the race. But just early with so many little questions, it might be slow on the uptake possibly.
Well, I just think it's very intriguing, Lewis. Like you mentioned, we've got the 6 3-year-olds and they go out of barriers 1 to 6. So, and BK even just mentioned, just quickly looking at it right now, he was still thinking where they were going to sit, where they were going to go. So I think, we've held bets on the top 2 in See the Stars and also Hesitate. But I think punters will take a little bit to work out their maps and where they're going to sit. I still see some drivers need to be engaged for some runners as well. So, there's still a little bit to play out between now and Saturday night, but I tell you what, come Saturday night, the money will come. So if you want to have a look at those late firmers in this market, they're probably the ones that will be the best guide going forward.
Gretchy, it's been no doubt 3-year-old centric in terms of really early money post-barrier draw, but what we still see at the top of the market is Fighter Command and Bay of Biscay still unable to be split. They've moved in tandem, so that's a really interesting piece of the 4-year-old punting puzzle, in that we don't have an outright favourite of those 2 horses who have both been big time performers.
Yeah, BK, the traders here at tab.com.au couldn't split them in the market, so they've gone up $4 each or 2, but we'll just leave that up to the punters to decide who's going to start favourite, and that's what I mentioned. If you just follow the weight of money, you'll find one of these will firm and the other one will drift, and they're the ones that have been met with good support.
Appreciate your time and thoughts, Gretchy, on getting that market up for the punters, and I'm sure you'll enjoy Saturday night as well.
Yeah, thanks, Lewis, and good luck to everyone involved out there at Menangle and those involved in the Eureka as well. It's going to be a fantastic night out there at Menangle, and looking forward to it, Lewis. I'll be out on the couch having a watch, and I can't wait for it.
Nathan Gretsch there from the Tab. BK, what a morning that was. Half the battle done. Now we've got a couple of days to put our heads together and see who wins the 3rd running of the Eureka.
Well, now we can muse over this a bit, can't we, Lewis? We can think about where these horses are going to fall in terms of the first 200, the middle part, who's really going to be the enforcer of the race. And overall, I think that those questions are really important, not only to figure out who's going to win the Eureka, but who are going to make those second, third and fourth placings, which are still very lucrative for connections and for slot holders alike.
We'll be trackside, of course, with uninterrupted coverage, Sky Active, Sky Thoroughbred Central and Sky Racing 1. It's going to be a great night. I'll see you Saturday.
Won't it be brilliant, Lewis? Looking forward to it.
That was the Tab Eureka Barrier Draw for 2025. Thanks to all for tuning in. If you have an interest in those horse, best of luck come Saturday night. And as we mentioned, we'll see you there.